What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and today we are going to do a little match analysis using our hill with our new position and notation. Notation. That would be the right phrasing. To kind of analyze this epic match between Michael Todd and Devon Larratt.
And we have a little bit of inside information, just having talked to Devon a few times, talking about his mistakes and what he believed went wrong in that match. So that plays a role as well.
For sure. So with that, we're just gonna use the hill and use what we know and kind of go through the match. The rounds that really matter are the first round and the last round, as far as like the mistakes that were made, as far as like tactics on the hill. But we're just gonna go through the whole match anyway, but really focus on the first and the last round.
So without further ado,
let's get into it. All right, here we go. So they've obviously already slipped, and we're to the strap now, and Bart's about to call the ready go. So let's see what happens.
So we all know Michael's going to hit King's move.
And there we go. So Michael's hit King's move, and Devon is going to approach this match very similar to the way, or basically the exact same way, that he approached the match in 2011, right?
Yeah.
So
where he tries to kick back and climb, gain height, gain control, and then go for the press.
For sure. So the first part of that process is hitting high with a what we would consider T1, like a high posting top roll, trying to get height into Michael's hand, and just trying to establish the high position on the hill.
And you can tell his post is already somewhat compromised because his arm is like
the angle that his arm
is like 45 degrees.
And but you can tell not just from this freeze frame, but as the pulling continues, that he's just trying to fight up into Michael's hand. And one of the things that was different about this match from 2011 is the idea that Michael's clamp had improved a lot. So the ability in a King's move to hold someone down with your fingers as they try to rise over your thumb is actually really, really important. And this is something that Devon noted after this match was something he learned from this match in a big way. So as we're going to continue here, you're going to see as Devon tries to climb out, he's kind of unable to really get any significant height up Michael's hand.
And that is because of Michael's superior clamping pressure that's just holding his hand down and also compromising his riser.
Exactly. So let's continue and see where we go. So Devon's fighting back. You can see him pulling back for back pressure. And then right there at that moment, so what you see Devon pushing his shoulder forward, what he's doing there, one thing he talks a lot about is getting height through depth. So again, if our hands are like this, if I can get deeper on your hand, it's going to give me a chance to get higher on your hand.
Exactly.
So when he starts to push his shoulder forward there, he fought it back a couple times, couldn't get anywhere. So now he's going to test the waters and kind of push forward and see if he can get some height through depth.
So there's two main strengths that Michael is using here. One rise, one pronation. So when he's kicking back and climbing, he's trying to fight his rise, and when he's going in for depth, he's trying to fight his pronation.
Exactly. And again, the clamping pressure from Michael is going to be significant to keeping Devon's hand down as much as he's trying to maneuver his way up Mike's thumb. So as we continue, Devon's now just come forward to get some depth. And from there, you can see him, again, back pressure, a little bit of side pressure, trying to fight up Michael's hand. And he's really, as Devon's always doing, he's looking for where there's a soft spot, where can he find a gap that he can exploit, right? So again, pushing forward, trying to get some depth.
Tried to regrip there, didn't quite work out.
Going for height. Same thing. So he's just really toggling back and forth between these two positions, between pulling for back pressure to try to climb up Michael's hand or pushing forward to try to get depth again,
like right there,
to just again advance up Michael's hand as much as he can. And the whole time, what's really important about this in comparison to the fifth round when we get to it is the fact that Devon this whole time is fighting for height. He's fighting for the top of that hill because ideally he wants to establish a high hook to get to his press.
Yes, exactly.
That would be perfect scenario. But if he can't get to the high hook, as long as he's got enough height, when he comes in for a flop, like he tests the water there, he should be able to get it. So that was just a test, see how it feels. And here, testing again.
You can tell he's still just trying to fight for height, but his riser is getting more and more compromised as Michael starts re-gripping and clamping down.
And you can see he really hasn't gained any or much height at all on Michael's thumb. But at this point, he feels like he's got enough space, so he decides he commits his shoulder.
Michael starts re-gripping, gaining as much hand as he needs, and he's just sitting there comfortably. And
Devon drives through. And there's a lot of talk that it's very possible that Mike really did kind of give that pin. Not that Devon didn't get to the position.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Michael was fighting the entire time to keep him away from that position. But once Devon did connect his press, I don't know how hard Michael actually fought that press off.
You can see right there, he's not even breathing, and Devon's huffing and puffing.
And Michael's got a smile on his face. And then we all know that a big part of Michael's tactic was get right back to the table and call Devon back to the table, knowing that Devon's superior alpha attitude would not let him stay away from stay away from the table. So we're just going to jump ahead here. Michael calls him to the table. They have a slip. Michael's starting to get pumped up, starting to feel like his strategy might be working, because Devon's obviously feeling relatively fatigued in Michael's mind from that match. In talking to Devon about this match, he really doesn't consider fatigue to have been the factor. That maybe is arguable because sometimes, making mental mistakes, which is definitely what he feels he did at the end of the match, that can definitely come down to fatigue at some point. So it's possible that it was fatigue. But as we see him getting ready for this second round here, it's going to be very similar. Devon's going to hit the same way, but you're going to see he spends almost no time trying to fight for height.
Yeah, he's a lot less patient in this round.
Yeah, he's already got his foot up and he's already pushing forward.
He realizes it's not working, so he goes back to trying to fight for height, and he hits the slow top roll on the outside.
Yep.
And Michael's clamp and back pressure are just too much.
Yep. And Michael is definitely more committed to getting the pin in this round than maybe he was in the first one. In the first one, it was clear he was maybe trying to burn him out more, but he's definitely jumping forward and just trying to get a pin quick. First time he tries to come in for his P2, it doesn't work. Again, Devon's still trying to establish height, but before really fighting for it much, he's ready to commit his shoulder and just try to get to that press. And right there, great hold by Mike.
Devon goes back to fighting for height,
and that
allowed Michael to hold his side pressure and
get to his P2.
Yeah, transition to his P2
and drop that press. Yeah, and that was a pretty good looking round. But you can see now Devon is already he's running away from that first part of the tactic, which is really establishing and fighting for height and climbing up Michael's hand.
Yeah.
He did that for a split second in the beginning, and then was right back to going for the press. Toggled back and forth a little bit, but was really trying to get to the press kind of quickly.
Yeah, and that could be like we said, a fatigue issue where he spent so much time in round 1 fighting for height that by round 2 and 3 it's getting really tired.
Yeah, but he has one of the things that he mentioned, and this is where he thinks it's more of a mental mistake for him, and he claims that he's a victim of doing this a lot. Or it's one of the things he does, one of the problems he has that he tries to get better at is the idea of skipping steps.
Yeah.
So he knows that the press is the way to finish the king's move. So instead of fighting for height too much, he jumps forward and goes right to the press. And he expresses doing that same kind of mistake against Taurus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was it with Taurus that
it was the same thing. It was hitting for the post before going for the defensive flop and eventually the offensive flop.
Right. Right, and that's right. And then at the end of the match, he was just diving right in for the defensive flop.
Exactly.
So here you can see same thing. He's fighting for height. He realized his mistake in that second round there. So now he's spending more time again trying to climb up Michael's hand. But the clamp that Michael has brought to this match in comparison to before is definitely more than Devon was expecting.
Devon's still not being as patient as he was in round 1.
Yeah.
He tests the P2 again. It wasn't there, so he goes back to fighting for height, kickbacking and climbing.
Yeah.
He starts to bring the shoulder in a bit.
And instead, he's got almost no height established, and he's already going for that pin there.
Yeah.
And now this is a round where in the first one, Michael just stood right up and that pin landed. Now Michael's really hanging on. He gets an elbow foul here.
He's intentionally elbow fouling, I think, just holding it
Just holding and trying to make sure Devon just gives everything he's got to try to finish this pin. And at the end of this round, you can see Michael again stands up, big smile on his face, happy as shit, and Devon
still curled over,
breathing heavy. So
Was this part of the plan?
Yeah,
it could very well could have
definitely
been.
very well could have been. So now we're into round 4. Round 4 is a flasher. Michael definitely trying to swing the momentum. This is where he's yelling at him. How are you sitting down? What are you doing? Come on, are you kidding? And this smile here on Devon's face is just, it says everything. He knows, like, no, I can't let this happen. So we're back at the table, and Michael now, he comes in for a press there on the slip. Devon looking like, yeah, no big deal, but maybe starting to feel a little bit of worry. Yeah. And now, if you haven't seen the clip of the night before where Devon is just Josh and Mike, like, just poking the bear like crazy.
I got your hand beat.
I got your shoulder beat. I mean, he's just like giving him so much trash talk. It's great. So, Michael's definitely excited to give that back to him at the end of this round here.
Yeah.
So let's just get to where the go is, because it's a real quick round. Set up, and now you can see Michael with his shoulder a little more committed, definitely watching Bart for the go. He always watches the ref, but he's definitely ready to come in a little bit more.
They're both shoulder committed right now, but the big difference is Michael's also shoulder committed.
Yeah, and well, Devon trying to get his carve in. So here we go. Just say go, Bart. and go. And, boom. Smash. And it's just smashed him. And now Michael is really giving it back to him. I thought you had my hand beat. I thought you had my shoulder beat. He's just like, he's getting fired up. Michael has a tendency to get fired up. And then Devon's like, fuck, man. All right, I'm in deep water. We got one round left. I'm going to make this round count.
Yeah.
And Michael, same tactic. He's right back at the table, calling Devon to the table, trying to make fatigue a factor.
Those BFR circuits.
Yeah, maybe they might be paying off.
Okay, goes through a slip again.
Yep, and back to the strap.
And this one is much more similar to round 1.
Yeah. Actually, this is where Devon really makes the big mistake, as he claims. This is where his biggest mistake was. So in this round, you're going to notice he's set up 100% to go inside. He's got his shoulder committed, and Michael, even though his setup is similar, you can tell he's not going to hit inside. You can tell that his shoulder is a little further back, and he's ready to hit into his king's move.
Yeah.
And let's just get to the go. Are they ever going to go?
I don't know, man. Bart, just say go.
Here we go. Okay. So, on the go.
Michael hit kings. Devon just fully dives in.
Right to inside. You can see he kind of goes for the high hook first. Let's watch the go again real quick, actually. So, he kind of goes for the high hook.
Tries to get his cup, but
ends
gets
up
taken.
Yeah, ends up in the press here. So, he kind of goes for H1, ends up in P2, shoulder fully committed, and he gets real close.
He gets
right
very,
here.
very close in this initial drive.
Especially from this angle, it definitely looks like Michael is close to the pin pad, but I guarantee you from Bart's angle, with how deep Michael is in Devon's hand, he's still a good inch or half inch away from the pin pad there.
Yep.
And at this point, as soon as Devon lets off any bit of gas, Michael just makes gains on every moment Devon comes back. Like from committing his shoulder, Michael's able to climb a little more and get a little better position.
Devon tries to retreat a little bit and trying to get into a little defensive position. He does test the waters again with a couple of hits, but he's not fully driving right now. He does try to get more into position with his leg over the table. It doesn't really seem to be working.
Yeah. Again, he's pretty much just trying to get depth through height here. At this point, he realizes that by jumping forward so quickly and not fighting for height, he's actually got himself in a bit of a shitty situation.
Yeah, he's realizing his mistakes right now.
So that's one thing that we definitely talked to Devon about, that he voiced to us, is one of the mistakes that he makes, where he knows the process on the hill that he's supposed to go. He's supposed to go T1 to hit for height, and then start establishing height and establishing hand and try to get to H1, and then eventually finish with a press. He knows that that's the way it's supposed to go. But same way with Tars, he knows that he's got to fight for height first before he gets into a defensive flop, before he can start to fight for that offensive flop. But by thinking that he's found the answer in being the defensive flop, or in this case being just coming forward for the press, he skips the first 2 steps and goes right to the answer.
Yeah.
But it's actually not the answer because he didn't follow the process, and it's something that he said. He says he kicks himself for doing all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we said before, he did it in the Taurus match, which we will analyze in a later date.
Yeah, at some point. But that's definitely what he feels he's done here. And the reason that even though he's gone to the correct move, it's not the right answer, is because by not establishing any height, by being in the press without any height here, it's really almost basically impossible, especially against somebody who's good at the king's move, to back off and try to get height again.
Right.
As soon as Devon comes back, he's just giving Michael more and more position on the table, and the better position Michael gets into, the harder it is for Devon to push through.
Exactly. There's almost no way Devon that he can come back from this position, so he's kind of just gone to the bank here.
Yeah.
He has to fully commit to his press. He can't change positions.
Yeah, and you can see him lay off a little bit, and again, every time he does that, he's looking for those micro adjustments. Is there a way to get up on the hand? But he's in with the other guy who is the best at doing these micro adjustments and endurance. So,
and you can see Devon's shoulder definitely crossing the center line here.
Yeah, everybody's complaining about Michael's shoulder being below the table, yet Devon's shoulder is well across the table. So again,
who's the plane here?
Who cares? It's just arm wrestling. And so Devon gets an elbow foul there. Definitely in deep water.
Michael starts regripping.
Yeah.
Devon's wrist is fully compromised now. Michael starts to come up. He's looking for the press. Devon goes back to the press, and Michael goes back to his king's move. Starts regripping again, climbing up that thumb.
And Devon, when he's doing there, he's either looking for an elbow foul, to force an elbow foul on Mike, or he's just trying to rip out quick and get some height again on his hand. And now that Michael's felt that a couple times, he's just waiting for the next time he does that so that he can kind of commit his shoulder forward and get to his press. So it's just a little switch of position here.
Yeah.
Devon is fully forward and Michael's fully outside, and then Devon's about to spring outside and Michael jumps forward and
once he gave that up, he couldn't get it back.
Yeah, and the biggest part again here is that because Devon didn't fight for height in the beginning, he's just got himself in this press position in too compromised of a position to finish or to retreat and establish any more height.
And
so there's the retreat. Michael brings the shoulder, and he is his limit at this moment in time.
Yes, he is. Give me that hammer.
Yeah, hopefully not forever. I really do believe that Devon will get this match back, and when we get to see the third and final of this what should be a trilogy match, I really do believe that Devon's going to pull it off.
But WL has to come back.
Yeah, we got to see it happen. That's the only way we're going to know.
Let's go, Steve.
So if we don't get to see Levon and Michael pull, let's see Devon and Michael pull. Mm-hmm. We got to see some top level guys pull. We got to get back to it. I mean, we love throwing this backyard stuff, but nothing competes with the real thing.
No. So if you like the video, please like the video.
Yeah, if you like this kind of analysis and breaking down the matches this way, if you think it helps or it's interesting, leave some comments, let us know, and we'll definitely keep doing more of them.
And maybe recommend some matches that you'd like.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, we've got ideas, but obviously we'd rather go do what you guys want to see. So if there's a match you'd like to have us break down, please let us know.
Leave
subscribe,
feedback, comments,
bell,
subscribe, share,
all that stuff. And monkeys out. Peace.